Okay, it is 4 o'clock on the dot. I am reporting. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Downtown Management Commission meeting. It's Tuesday, January 10th, 2023, and I will call roll. Susan Newsom. Here. Don Coe.
Here.
Stephanie Trees.
Here.
Justin Calvin.
Here.
And I will hand it back over to our chair.
Great. Well, welcome everyone. So happy to see all of us together too, which is nice because we're not always all here. But first, let's approve the minutes. We have two different sets of minutes for both our DMC meeting and the meeting for the special art session. I move approval of both minutes. If anyone wants to approve second on both, or we can do them singularly if we need to have any questions on either one of them.
No questions, I'll second.
Justin seconded, so I think we have moved approval on both sets of minutes. I see no public here, so we can skip the public participation and move straight into public safety.
Oh, fantastic. So my name is John Kessler. I'm a sergeant with Boulder Police Department. I supervise our downtown mall team, as well as our homeless outreach team and our community services. Basically, if you have any questions about any of those units, I could be the person to ask. And then just as far as an update down on the mall, we had just like criminal update in the last week. We had a guy by the name of Joseph who had committed a couple of burglaries, a couple of criminal trespasses, a couple of criminal mischiefs, all in that 1400 block Walnut area. We arrested him a couple days ago. So he's in jail for at least a little bit, but he'll be getting out soon. And as far as things that have happened on the mall, there was a burglary at the Little Jewel. Heard back in the middle of December. We got a call from the hospital about a person who had been admitted and they had a backpack full of jewelry. So we went over there, took the jewelry, store owner positively identified it. This guy's name is Dylan, the suspect. I saw him when we were walking on the mall last week. He was right across from the Little Jewel, just hanging out. Had a couple of earrings in his ears that were from the Little Jewel burglary. So he voluntarily turned those over as well, and they're working on a warrant for him. Bree Owski, a name that we have not heard. I'm going to sit down for this one, Chef. So Brittany was, she was admitted to the state hospital. This is good news. Bad news is there's a 1-year waiting list for that. So she will most likely be released to community restoration, of which she will not participate. And that will just be noted in the notes, and she's going to be back with us probably sooner than we think. I don't know if she's going to come back to the mall, but I would imagine she's going to be somewhere in the downtown area. Any questions?
Did I miss the good news?
Made an arrest on the Little Jewel burglary. Those Fatwood, who had gone on a little crime spree, he's been arrested.
Is there any update on the conversations with the Texaco at 15th and Canyon?
I mean, the Circle K there at 1480. Yeah. As well, as far as the stratified policing and all that, we still do directed patrols there. Can't get anybody who wants to work there for overtime as far as the security. And I know the Circle K itself, I mean, we have calls there all the time. As far as any improvements, anything like that, I can't say that there's anything coming up. No.
I just remember previous people had been working with their management to do more, to have more security, to lock the liquor, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, they've taken small measures, put things away that are easily stolen. But that's about all we've got.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anyone else have questions?
You trying?
Indeed.
Thank you.
Well, this is massively efficient today.
Happy birthday.
Still we get to Chip. Chip, I know, has a presentation for us. And Chip, I did review your vision statement again. It is beautiful, and I can't wait for it all to come to fruition.
Any minute, we should be done with it. Thank you. I actually don't have a whole lot. I don't have slides or anything, but I did share it with all of you the vision plan that I know many of you participated in different ways throughout the past year to bring that to light, including the city, who's a very important partner in that work. So I'm both proud of it and overwhelmed by it, because now we're moving into the implementation phase. And part of the implementation of that is stated in the plan is continued engagement and outreach. And as the downtown evolves, the vision will evolve as well. So we are going to our boards this month to officially endorse and ratify the plan, and at some point, hopefully City Council will see it in some form, whether it's an information packet or a study session. We'll figure that out. But I just thank you all for your support. Any feedback on the plan, anytime we're continuing to kind of build upon it. I think in the email you all got was our 2023 work plan, which was derived by in part from the work of the vision plan, but also just all of the inputs we get through our stakeholder surveys, our intercept studies, other data points. So we're really focused on a number of issues that parallel to your priorities as well, public safety being among them, economic vitality, inclusivity and co-creation, and connectivity. So a lot of conversations with some of the exciting things happening on the Hill in Boulder Junction, and how does downtown connect, and what is the access there. We're very interested in that. And a lot of conversations around activation downtown that we're responding to a lot of the last few years and desires for more activation. So it's all very exciting. It'll be a lot of work this year. I just wanted to thank you all for your participation and support of the vision plan. If that works. So, do you have anything to add to our vision plan conversation, Chris? You were instrumental in it.
Nothing more than what you've already mentioned, and it's come up a lot at these previous meetings. I guess I would say that it can be sometimes challenging for the city to turn to an outside organization, which the Downtown Boulder Partnership Improvement District is, to be the convener of a planning process that influences things that the city is actually the key stakeholder or implementer in. But I'd say that Chip and his team and the consultant team he worked with did their job very well, and they represented this work in a really thoughtful way in their engagement with not just the typical downtown Boulder stakeholders and downtown Boulder businesses, but communities that might not actually visit downtown that often. And so in thinking about an effective planning process that the city would turn to through a comprehensive master plan update or any other master planning efforts that we do, I'd say that we do have great confidence in the work that was done by the MIG team and the Downtown Partnership, that this document can be something that we can incorporate into our upcoming planning processes, including one of our agenda items today, the downtown streets as public space. So just really appreciate the partnership and looking forward to seeing what comes of it.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate all that.
Does council have to approve the plan, or what is the city's involvement outside of permitting?
I mean, that's really up to council. They do not do. This was a plan that the city supported in a lot of ways, but it wasn't a city plan. The city was very involved in it. We really wanted to include the city. And I think looking at what a lot of the city priorities are in alignment with the plan. And I think that's because we've been having all the same conversations together, and we are all seeing the same needs. But the city it's not a city plan. So it doesn't have to be approved by the city. Having said that, the support of the DMC and the city council and whomever else has a stake in the downtown management is only going to help the implementation, the support, and the buy-in for. So the city council does not have to, they don't have to read it. We've had a lot of city council members have been involved through various, our business improvement district, we have council representation on. Chris and Ali and Natalie all were involved in the vision and the steering committee for the vision plan. So there's been it really has been a partnership, but it's not a city plan. So the city council doesn't have to, but.
And I'd say doesn't have to, you don't actually want them to, because it's not a city plan, and the adoption process for council is more than just a council adoption. It goes through the planning board and the transportation advisory board, all the different boards and commissions who feel like they have a connection to a city plan also want to adopt that plan before council. So it's almost like it's just the word. The word adopted is very different from presenting to. So having an opportunity to make sure that the council is very well aware of the downtown Boulder vision, which is being led by Chip and his partners and his organization. So we certainly could have a conversation with council about supporting their plan or accepting their plan, but the word adoption is definitely not one I would
say. That's an important
issue.
But if you all wanted to adopt.
I'm sure you'd be like one of your children, Ben.
Chip, where do you feel like it's all hard, but where do you feel the greatest weaknesses? What's the threat? What makes this where do you need the most support or the most community involvement, or what's the thing that's going to make this go awry?
That's a really interesting question. I think that, as you all know, there's so many different things happening right now, and there's between downtown streets as public space and some activation proposals and connectivity and civic area. There's a lot of different really exciting opportunities right now. And I think one of my bigger concerns is how do we as downtown management team all keep everything kind of on the same page. I think that's one of the immediate concerns, just because like the vision plan represents a lot of different ideas. I'm really encouraged that I think all the right people are in, most of the people who are engaged in all these different projects are talking to each other. But that is the concern, that there's so many opportunities right now that we could start going in cross purposes if we're not all together. So I'm encouraged we have such strong partnerships that I'm aware of that. I think concerned maybe is an overstatement. I think part of the, I don't really have a response to that. I mean, I think there's a lot of, just in terms of the vision plan, I think we gave ourselves a 5-year window of, the 50th anniversary as an opportunity. We're not going to get everything we want to get done in that. Some of this, who knows if it'll manifest, but having an ability to now strategically move forward with some force, so we can get some things happening in movement for that, milestone is going to be important. I don't know. I mean, my concerns around downtown are less about implementation of this vision plan. Very curious to see how office space recovers and what our response to office space is. I think one of the things that, we talk about is affordability. and how do we approach affordability in the commercial space, but also in the residential space, and continuing to have a downtown in a community that young people want to engage in, and a diversity of people of all kinds of diversity. I'm worried about age diversity here. We're getting older and more affluent every year, and I question how sustainable that is for downtown. So. I could go on about what I think the threats are, but the good news is, I spend a lot of time studying and talking to other districts, and relative to most places, we're pretty solid. We have good management, we have good connectivity, we have great bones, and we're doing well relatively. But I think there are some vulnerabilities that we need to be aware of. Those are among the big ones: affordability and a diversity of our users.
Yeah, my top three things, and this will turn into a question, is vacancy with retail, which is kind of like one bucket, which is like the activation thing. And I'm just curious about how much of the vacancies that I see are just standard ebb and flow retail vacancies, or if it represents a problem on the block or a broader trend, and what you think about that. We were briefly talking about the 17th to 18th block with all those, most of the vacancies that I see, at least in the downtown retail on Pearl. And then the office space thing, I personally I've been trying to read more on this, but it's very dense reading on the change in office space. And I think it's a fool's errand to think it's going to recover, but I think that Boulder might just be more protected because of the type of office space it had. It's categorized as high-end office space or nicer office space or something, whereas the lower end sprawl oriented office space in the country is majorly, it won't recover. I don't think anyone thinks it's going to recover. So I guess the forward thinking aspect that I'm most interested in is should the city create incentives for office space to be repurposed? What and how does the city prevent the negative externalities of vacancies of blocks that just have for lease signed for years and years? What exists that government's role to me is to prevent negative externalities that impact the vitality of the city. And I've just been thinking about that, and it's on my mind coming into this meeting about what the city could do. And I also read about the Denver partnership, similar one where Sarah, who I think used to be here, is doing this pilot. I'm a little confused by the pilot, but I think it's an interesting idea. Yeah. But just that general theme of is some of the vacancies here to stay in terms of trends, harder to have a small business, no office space really needed. And then what is the city forward thinking going to do about it? Yeah. To not just hope it goes back to where it was. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are all really good questions. I will say a couple of things on the vacancy, the ground floor retail vacancy. There's a couple of things that are maybe misleading. There's a lot of places that aren't occupied, but they're not vacancy in the sense that they're under contract. So some of the things that appear to be vacant have a tenant. They're just, I don't want to say they're all waiting for permits, but they're in various stages of they've been leased or they're under contract or things are happening. There are some vacancies, but we don't do a great job of tracking vacancies, but as much as we do, we're not that far off from the vacancy rates we've always had. There's more commercial space. We continue to build, on the east end, there's more spaces, but we don't have significantly more than we did pre-pandemic. In fact, in 2020, we had more new businesses open ground floor than closed. And then we have some more highly visible spaces. Laughing, Lazy Dog has been vacant for a while. They have a tenant, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's signed. And it'll be a little while before that space sees much activity because there's
various stages of it. So ground floor is not our problem. It will continue to, the challenge, I do think, and I'll just touch on this for a second, because our occupancy rates are so low in ground floor, our rents are still very expensive. From the pandemic, with some exception on the East End and a little bit of other spaces, a lot of the new retail that's opened up, every outdoor apparel company wants to be in Boulder, which is great. And so we've had a lot of national and regional chains open up, and they're more capitalized than a local independent. So I think that is one of the concerns, is how do we provide opportunities for local businesses, for local independent small businesses, when the market is continuing to be such that our rents are very expensive. Having said that, part of the vision plan is expanding the reach of downtown. Our rents are very expensive on the West End, and then on Pearl Street Mall, and then there's other places like any district. As you get farther away from the core, it becomes more accessible. So I think on the commercial property, though, there's not a lot of vacancies, and especially compared to national or state or regional averages, we're fine. 16th Street Mall, where Sarah put in that program, is very, very different scenario, and people aren't going down there. So it's a incubation program where they're basically giving free rent, subsidizing the rent for minority business, by BIPOC business owners and others to open up for free for a period of time. We're not there yet.
Well, I guess comparing Boulder to past Boulder is, to me, comparing Boulder to Denver, it's just like not even right. Because people are saying like the downtown feels like it's declining. And I walk around and I'm working on Pearl Street again, which is great. And I walk around just after work and that entire block is dark, almost between 17th and 18th. To me, that feels like decline, even if the vacancies are normal. So I do think ground level storefronts do really impact perception of where the city, especially if people don't know that a new tenant's coming, there's something to be excited about. They're like, oh, this is in decline. Like it's an easy perception to have.
And there's a little bit of a paradox. I mean, we've done some activations with open studios and other places in buildings that will be vacant for a while. A property manager isn't going to let us come in and activate a space if they're in negotiation. It's harder. So there's almost this paradox of the worse it is, the easier it is for us to activate. But when there's when we're negotiating contracts, property owners will just know it's. And one of the things kind of that ties to the office use spaces, property owners and managers have a longer time horizon, I would say, than a lot of retail or restaurant businesses. If you're not making money as a restaurant this week, it's going to affect your year. I think we haven't seen a lot of in terms of looking at, should we start thinking about reusing our spaces? We haven't seen a lot of that from the property, because I think there is.
The leases haven't run out yet, right?
Well, they're starting to now. We're starting to see that, but it's also, I think there is a long-term confidence from the people who I've talked to that it will bounce back. We're Boulder. People do want to be here. We have tremendous assets, and it's a little bit of a chicken and egg, because people want to be here because we have a vibrant, exciting downtown, and it's a beautiful location and all of the reasons. And as we don't have office users, that vibrancy downtown goes down. So it's, we want to encourage that. That's a big part of our work plan in terms of the economic vitality. One of the few things that we're adding this year that we haven't done in that regard is trying to understand how we do respond to the second story thing, especially given that, adapting to residential in downtown, I just don't think if it's so expensive. It's cost prohibitive for most commercial uses. Just they're not built to have the infrastructure to support it. Our zoning doesn't support that. There's so many. I think it's just a process and an expense that I don't see that happening now in response to this. I have seen in a lot of downtowns, though, other uses, office space being used for artistic endeavor, theaters and studio and other things that are not residential use. So I think it's a conversation we can have. But our response like advocating for reuse, or is it just increasing marketing in a different way? We haven't marketed to commercial use. We haven't had to. You know, our economic vitality in terms of commercial has been, we put up a for lease sign and, you know, and somebody's there. So now maybe we have to rethink our role as a downtown management organization about, you know, we market to visitors, to consumers, to people to come down and go shopping and eating. Maybe part of our marketing, we need to focus on marketing, working with Chamber Economic, the Vitality Group in the state. Like, how do we work more to attract businesses here? We've never had to do that. So
yeah, it's just starting a discussion. I'm interested in this. I want to help or be involved to figure out what that would be, what useful thing. But I think thinking of vacancy as a negative externality to a city, I think that is right, because I think activation and vibrancy is like life, it's people, it's energy, right? Yep. And vacancy and darkness, no light, like nothing around is the opposite of what we want. So it's more of an interest area. It intersects with a lot of things. I'm just like hearing council talk a little bit about it and stuff. So maybe I could figure out later how I can be.
Well, and I think that we're having these activation conversations. I think that's one of the things that I expect that's being, you know, we're certainly taking that into account is, you know, where do we want to place that activation? It's kind of like, you know, urban acupuncture. Yeah. Like, you know, you can do some activations in a certain place that create vibrancy that then, you know, it expands. And you know, how do you approach that from a thoughtful level of you know, what you're saying? The darkness, the vacancy is not good for the block that it's on. And when the block's bad, the blocks around it are bad. So by just being able to activate a certain space, there's opportunities to create for that activation to grow. So I think what we're looking at is we're trying to do activations downtown. How do we do that from a sort of an acupuncture standpoint?
I think that the block that Stephanie's talking about, the north side of the street, that's slated for demolition. But it seems to me that where the old arts and crafts co-op was, some signage is up, you know, it's pretty. Maybe the same thing could be done down there. I mean, you look in those windows and there's like holes between the two. And it does look like
there were a series of pop-up arts things in there, and now I think they're done with that phase. So, but I think that's a good idea. We can kind of
looking too weirdly, like none of the trees have lights in that block either. Which I think most of them are dead. There may be dead trees, which might be part of it, but it was just odd.
I'm not sure why. It also could be there's no power there anymore.
And there's no power and there's nothing. So it's just like a black hole.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but I imagine it could be power.
It's little things that could make a difference, at least in the space. But I also am thinking of big things like I'm personally like think that maybe government could play a role in doing something like what are the incentives to the landlords to get the space filled? And there are interesting things there about like how do you create meaningful incentives to get the space filled versus to leave it vacant. And I have a lot to learn in this space, but like I think that's where the city can do interesting things to activate space, credits or other things to support. Credits to people, the worst spaces, right? Maybe have the most opportunity to get people in the door. And I think that's kind of what Sarah was doing with this pilots. Right. Yeah. So there's hopefully some cool things that sounds like people are thinking about. Okay. Sorry for the divergence, but
no, it's really, I mean, that's one of the more important conversations we're having now is how do we respond to those vacancies? You know,
do you have a sense of where you think the activation is most needed, or is that what the conversations are?
I mean, yes, I think the East End is really a place where we want to activate. I think on the wing, you know, as the vision plan represents on the mall, the 1400 block in particular has been probably the least vibrant, least active, and you know, there's some activity there. I think. You know, when we're looking at the East End, we're looking at the connectivity with the civic area and 13th Street and how to activate that area.
A whole other,
you know, I think that, you know, we're part of what we're doing with our activation is kind of prototyping, trying to figure out where to do things and how to make sense. And, you know, we don't want to do activations that are disruptive to the activation that exists. We want to be additive in that. And I think that's really important. You know, I'm encouraged, and I think we're going to hear more about it. Gale Studios has a lot of expertise in this area. So, you know, I'm looking forward to kind of leaning on their knowledge and experience for how to approach activation. You know, as well as kind of bringing the community in to do some co-creating of that as well. So,
do either of you have any insight on when that redevelopment is going to start? Just curious.
It's been
it's been in permitting. I'm not sure where they're at in their permitting process.
What department is that?
Planning and Development Services.
Okay.
It's so slow.
But
I don't know that it's a permit thing at this point.
Yeah.
I think it might be a financing thing. Don't quote me on that, but I don't know that it's a permanent thing. Because that's
What's gonna happen when Hopper moves?
I know. Why the New York Deli?
People are moving to other places in Boulder, which is great, but now their spaces are vacant. Yeah, like all the places that moved, it's 29th Street, who knows why.
I'm willing to
Downtown.
bet any amount that will not stay vacant.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have much on the mall.
Yeah.
That's vacant. It's once you go east, and that's where we need to be activating and looking at stuff. That won't stay vacant.
Yeah.
That's all I got, unless there's other.
I'm super excited, Chip, with what you've got planned and what the vision plan offers. And if you need our help in any way, we are your biggest champions to get it all done. So please let us know how we can assist you as well.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Don.
Well, thank you, Chip, for coming to our meeting. Let's move on to the consent agenda. And I did have a couple questions. Does anyone have other questions on the consent agenda items? Because I wanted to have other people have a chance to chime in versus just me. In page 16 of the agenda, it's talking about the gateless implementation, and the city has selected a vendor. I assume it was the vendor we spoke with when we had our call, and they presented what they are the ones.
Yes, that is correct. I see Teresa's turned her camera on. She can provide an update. So they are our top candidate. We're in contract negotiations now. So until we have a signed contract, it's not officially official. But Metropolis is who we are in conversations with on contracting. Teresa, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you covered it, Chris.
How long, once that's under contract, for it to come to reality?
So right now we're shooting for implementation right as our Q4 permits go into place, so September. So we've got a few months to work through contracting, get a really solid plan, get input from our work groups, make sure that we've got all of our T's crossed and I's dotted, and get those put together.
I have a question on the outdoor dining. How many we end up with?
24 businesses are participating, and applications are reopening. So I'm moving over a handful more.
Because I've only seen a few of them. Are they just not?
They're scattered around the city.
Village Craigs looks nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I mean,
There's a lot on the west end now. I don't know if you noticed Salt, Tara,
yeah.
Some of them are smaller than they were when like the streets were closed down and stuff. So like Topanga, it's a small one. Gemini has a real small one.
Yeah. And only like one did someone make their own? But everyone
built their own. I think that the Post built their own Bohemian Beer Garden.
Okay, and they got theirs like approved. And built. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. That was mad rush. Another question that I don't know, maybe relates to something in here. The space, community space over here by the Century.
Thank you, Spence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So the St. Julian Partners have a concept. I want to make sure I get the term right. But they have a conceptual plan for the development of that space, which is consistent with the conversation that we had with them many years ago. Yeah. And so it's in concept review right now. So it's in the regular planning process, and so it will be rooms, offices upstairs, the conference space on that main floor.
Yeah.
Because it's a civic use pad, there will be some covenant around nonprofit use and the redirection of some accommodations tax to subsidize nonprofit use of the space. So really similar to our arrangement that we also will have with the university with the conference space on the Hill. So in concept review right now and in development, so underway.
And then I'll go to permitting.
Yeah, planning. So then it goes to planning board, and it will be at 55 feet. So city council will need to approve either on consent after planning board, or they'll call it up and have more conversation. But yeah.
So we can stay coordinated. Can we know when this is presenting to planning board so we can attend planning board if we want to see what's going on?
You will be involved in the decision-making process because there are Cagid assets associated with the development. Since Cagid owns the parking garage below, we also own the pedestrian scale lighting between Walnut and Canyon. So there will be impacts to Cagid owned assets, and so DMC will be a stop along the way before the project actually goes to planning board for final approval. So you will all be looped in the process when they're ready to have that conversation.
So we see it before planning board.
Yes.
Just in case. Okay, cool.
Yeah, planning board will want to make sure that DMC was consulted prior to their consideration of whether or not they would approve, because they have quasi judicial authority over developments that can happen, and they want to make sure that all of the stakeholders that need to be looped into the development proposal have an opportunity to provide input before they consider for approval.
Page 17 of the agenda talks about the AMPS implementation and revitalizing access in Boulder. It's the next to last paragraph on the page, the one in the middle. And it talks about naming the garages. And I want to know if we're having Garagey McGarage Face or something like that in our history, in our future.
I know some good garage bands.
Oh, that's really preliminary. We have engaged a marketing design consultant, and their name is escaping me right now because I have not had enough to eat today. Walden Hyde. Oh, Teresa, yeah, Walden Hyde. Inside the donut. And so part of their broader scope for outreach and communications and the development of collateral materials for all of our access or AMPS related efforts includes the possibility of a process to better brand individual garages, so that as part of our wayfinding and helping people know which garages are city garages and wanting to push more people to the garages as the economical parking option. The concept of naming the garages has come up as part of that package. So more information to come. Teresa, do you have anything to add on Sam's timeline for various outreach related elements of AMPS?
No, I think we're still kind of in the very preliminary stages as far as concepts for garage naming and things like that. But here in the next 2 to 3 months, we'll have a lot more information.
I'm really intrigued by this concept because it was I'd call it a success what we did for naming the snowplows in Boulder. There's a lot of news around it, and it did generate a lot of press for them. And I know we're always trying to push people to use the garages more. And so this might be just even by the naming process, we might be able to engage the public to use the garages more as well.
That would be the intent of using the naming as a way to help people identify where they are and draw a connection and have a better understanding of where the garages are and how they can better access them for sure. So that's there more to come in future meetings.
Was there before in like the early discussions around the art in the parking garages, there's a thought that might expand and be connected to the naming? Do you think that will? Is that still part of the plan or maybe not?
I'd say it's too early to
tell. Okay.
To know how that's going to play out, but it's certainly part of the conversation. Okay. Absolutely.
I hate hearing you say there's a lot to know. It's early stages, but we're very interested. I think that's a really cool concept. When we always talk about the Spruce Street Garage, I'm like, there's 2 on Spruce. Which one are you talking about? So hopefully it's more creative than.
Confuse everyone.
Well, and internally, each of the garages are associated with their previous service lot letter. So there's lot A, lot B, lot C, lot D. We're not going to use that nomenclature, I promise.
Really caught on already.
I had one more question on the consent agenda. Let's see here. What was it? Oh, maybe I screwed up my comment notes and I've deleted one of them. Any other questions on consent agenda from anyone? Mine was on the last one. What was it? Oh, it does relate. The very last item on page 18, when it's talking about putting up new signs and for the parking lots and so on, and design of improved signs. And on one hand, if we're about to name the garages, do we want to kind of coordinate this with those new signs? I just don't know how much it costs to redesign signs once we got names for everything. So we do this in the right order so that we don't put up signs and then a month later we rename everything and have to put up new signs.
So there are 2 different sign efforts going on. We have the lollipop signs that have the technology issues, they're not working. And so we are working to get those rehabilitated and functioning again. Certainly in the context of making sure that the digital signage is able to be dynamic, and it could certainly have, we could tie it in with the branding, but we have engineering, approved engineering designs for our old lollipop signs. We're not looking to completely redo them, and that is part of our brand of our specifically cage-it-on spaces. Certainly with the digital screens, we can customize them to respond to this naming activity. The other signing project is related to all of our on-street parking. So on all the block faces as part of our general fund operation, we have all the signs that are associated with the pay stations that we used to have. We used to have 2 pay stations per block. And back when we moved from meter heads, where there was a paid parking meter head at every single parking space in the downtown, and we moved to 2 stations per block base, there was a lot of concern about how do we let people know that they need to go pay for parking somewhere else other than right at their parking spaces. So we put on all the signage that said pay to park right here. Well, we've reduced the number of pay stations in the downtown, but the signs are still there. So fortunately, we have Park Mobile, and the arrows point down to a sign that tells you how to use Park Mobile. So they're not completely misdirecting, but we need to update the on-street parking signs. And that's what this update is more about, is our on-street system and updating all of our signs, because we've reduced the number of on-street pay stations, and Park Mobile zones have changed a little bit. So it is a bit separate from the naming exercise with the garages. Does that make sense?
Does to me. Anyone else have items on the consent agenda before we move on to public space update? Moving on to downtown streets as public space update. Thank you for this thorough attachment. That really did help me understand what's going on.
Great. Yes. So we provided the memo, the information item that was provided to council to keep them up to speed on everything that's going on. So really glad that we were able to provide you with that context. Wanted to take the opportunity at this meeting because this is such an accelerated process, and it's going to translate into a lot of activity as soon as May of this year. We have engaged a consultant, we being the city, with planning and transportation and mobility as the lead departments of the city with community vitality as support. So was glad to provide the memo information and just wanted to make sure that you're all aware of just how quickly we are working on this. This is responding to the community's desires around more pedestrianized space in the downtown. After the whole West Pearl conversation. And, what is the role of the city and how do we work with our partners to respond to those desires from the community, making sure that we're involving all the key stakeholders in that process. And you all are key stakeholders in this work. There will be a press release going out later this week announcing an online questionnaire on the Be Heard Boulder platform. And we need as many people as possible to participate in that questionnaire to inform our decision-making process as our consultant team is working to identify the areas of downtown that we are going to put in some pop-up infrastructure or pop-up prototypes. Maybe it's going to be pop-up something. Anyhow, that will then need to be programmed. And so we have Justin Greenstein here from our special events team. Chip is also very much involved in the programming conversation of making sure that all this effort translates into the activations that we want to see in the areas that we're trying these things out. So you will be hearing from us very soon. Once that press release is out, we will be reaching out to you, asking you to make sure that it gets distributed, that the links get distributed as far and wide as we possibly can so we can have diversity of input in this conversation. That was part of our challenge in our conversation in 2022 was there were specific groups of folks who had really strong opinions about what they thought needed to happen. It was not necessarily representative of the broader community. This is our first time doing it, that where we're able to do that engagement ahead of time about possibility as opposed to engagement about something that's already happened. Our previous engagement on this topic had been specifically about, hey, we closed West Pearl. What do you think? We're taking a much more dynamic approach to our questionnaire now to have a bigger conversation about what are the values that drive our decision-making processes and how should those values be prioritized to influence when and where we do these types of pop-up activations. So not much more to report other than what was in the memo. You're going to be hearing more about this in the upcoming weeks, and we would really appreciate your help in getting this information out and the questionnaire link out to as many audiences as we're able. Any questions for me on where that work is at?
I saw on page 5, I'm sorry, it's just hard to know when people are there. On page 5, there's just a term I didn't know. In page 5, there's the little arrows going to the next arrow, next arrow. The one in the middle, recommendation for initial installation, possible ATB and CC study session. CC is City Council. What's ATB?
That is adjustment to base. So several times throughout the year, staff will approach council with budget changes for that fiscal year's budget. So if we have new identified revenues that we want to determine mid-budget cycle, how we want to spend those dollars, we go to council for an adjustment to base to get their approval of that budget change. So it's really a term for mid budget cycle change. We typically have 3 per year.
My kids want an ATB to their Allowance occasionally.
There you go.
Justin, Susan, Stephanie, any other questions on this?
When is the survey going out?
By the end of this week.
End of this week, okay. And is it gonna be like, is it a general survey or is it specific to like which streets or?
It's not that specific. It's
Okay.
a general survey, but focused on downtown streets as public space. So we want people to be thinking about their experience downtown, or if they don't go to downtown, why not? And
Okay.
it's really about, Chip is shocked that somebody would come downtown. And so it's focused on downtown, the experience of downtown, and values and priorities around pedestrianization of spaces in the downtown. But we're not getting to the where yet.
An attachment was mentioned about this. Did that?
It was in a, I missed it too. It was like in
Yeah.
December 14th email.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right around the holidays.
It was in the council packet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other questions on DSAPs? You know, because every good.
That is my happiness stick. Check that.
Public streets is downtown space.
No action.
Otherwise known as the hot topic.
Pop-up prototypes, public space pop-up.
There's so many new city terms, activation, pop-up. Something to think about.
Well, can you tell us about the 2023 approved budget, Chris?
So we put this out. I mean, we've spent a lot of time talking with you all about the 2023 budget, and we have your approval on the 2023 budget. We have other commissions that we work with that have much more challenging budget conversations, particularly University Hill General Improvement District. The taxing district last year, I think, produced about $38,000. Does not allow us to go very far. Fortunately, I mean, over the 53 years now almost of UGID, we've been able to accumulate some resources that we're having some conversations about how those dollars get redeployed, how do we prioritize that. But because the resources are so much smaller than what we have to work with in downtown or even at Boulder Junction, there's a lot more focus in on how those dollars are spent, and more scrutiny, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just an indication of where they're at. But we also want to be really sure that we're not providing this crazy weird level of service for one district and not for another district. And so Teresa's been doing some work on a regular budget update document. We brought a proposal of the things that would be included in such a thing for UCAMC for each of their every other month meetings. And so we just wanted to run the same format by you all and make sure that it's consistent with, if you would like us to, we are happy to provide the same level of update on where we're at with the annual budget at each of our meetings as part of your packet moving forward. So with that, I'll hand it over to Teresa to talk through what she's been putting together and maybe get a thumbs up from the commissioners if they like the approach or if there's something missing that they'd like us to consider, and what would be included in that every other month update on the budget. So Teresa.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's a great summary and overview. So the intent is basically each year as we get through kind of the budget and pull in the actuals for the fiscal year, we're able to present out our fund financials. And so what we're attempting to do then is take basically a similar format to the fund financials and with a little bit more simplicity. But basically the model would show revenues for the year. We can go back to 2019 kind of as just a reference point. I know it's important in an anchor point pre-pandemic, and then look at what the actuals were for revenues and expenditures through the current fiscal year, as well as having a year-to-date real life where we are each meeting. So bi-monthly, you can see how those expenses are coming through the fund and see the revenues that are coming through as well. And then breaking down on the expense side, personnel, operating expenses, just give a little light into cost allocations and transfers for some of our internal services, and then our capital improvement program. So it'll provide a summary. We'll also have the fund balance so you can kind of track how things are. And again, it's meant to just be more of a year-to-date, a month-to-date view, rather than just once a year seeing what the fund financial ends up being, but just giving a little bit more insight as we go throughout the year.
Teresa, will you include a comparison to budget?
Yes.
Mark Wolf used to provide this for us.
Okay.
So he might be able to give you some insight on the formats that he used.
Great.
I think that'd be great. I would look forward to that.
Certainly.
I'm all for more transparency on finance.
And I'm sorry, did you say this was updated live, Teresa, or this would be part of our packet as like a separate attachment? That's what you're saying. So there wouldn't be some place we could go to check it, is what you're saying.
I think the intent would be to provide it, and we could include a snapshot of it in the packet. It's basically tied to a macro that's tied into our financial system. So it's real live data within a day. So we're a day behind the finance system. But the intent would be to just have that report run and available each time we meet together.
Great. So we'll look forward to having that included in the March meeting packet.
I do recall seeing something about, this is tangential to this topic, but I did see something about doing some repairs to the garages, and that was all just planned maintenance, nothing special, unique, and different. That was just kind of stuff we needed to do.
Now, we've got, just to give some context for that, we are moving forward with some capital improvement repairs that were planned. Our engineer of record, WJE, went through and did an assessment on all of the garages and came back with required repairs at St. Julian, Randolph, RTD, and 15, now I'm saying this out loud, RTD, Randolph, 1100 Spruce, and St. Julian. And so those all went out to bid, and a vendor was selected here just about a month ago, Summit Sealants. And so that work is going to be taking place throughout the year. The first work is going to be starting in St. Julian, and there's a kickoff meeting there tomorrow, and then we'll see that work wrap up probably around September. And it just kind of keeps us consistent with our capital improvement plan that we've been working towards, and making sure that our assets are well maintained as we move into the future.
Was that part of our planned maintenance, or were these surprises and higher?
They were known. As we go through things, sometimes there will be elements that pop up, but the core elements. One of the things that's fortunate is there were a number of required maintenance elements that were identified, and then forward thinking, a few alternates. And fortunately, our budget was able to accommodate both the necessary maintenance as well as the alternates that just give us added time on the garages. So we're really fortunate to be in the situation we're in.
Thank you. I'm excited to see this budget. I love, we touch the budget once in a while when we get to approve it, but this will help us see how it's working, and it'll give me more access to like those conversations when it really matters. So I appreciate it. Zooming right along onto the DMC retreat draft agenda. We now have a time where we're meeting on March 14th, and we're going to meet, I think it's off the top of my head, from like 8:30 to, or 8 or 8:30 till 12 on the 14th. And we get to plan and figure out kind of what our next steps are a little bit. One question before we get into this, with this now being the hot time for recruitment of new commissioners throughout Boulder, is there any update on that process?
Lisa, do you want to provide an update on where we're at?
The deadline is January 30th for the applications. So we're getting them, but yeah, we have a little bit more time to go, and we'll start reviewing the applications, but it's open until January 30th.
Do you know if DMC has any applications?
I can get very little, so I'm thinking that we should maybe do some outreach. I was like kind of writing some of the business owners that I know, but
it's a property
rep. So,
and Susan, are you rotating off this?
Yes.
Next year? Okay. Who do we have rotating? We have a vacant. That's right. That's right. The Trident. Yes.
But is there? Like I guess I don't know how we're going to get someone to know about it unless we kind of go to the property owners and tell them. Do we have like a flyer we could hand out, or what do you?
Yeah, so we have in the past done postcards and communications. I'd say that fortunately we have the Downtown Boulder Partnership.
Yes.
It'd be great if they
I can hand stuff out. I mean,
I actually looked at the latest DBP email, and I didn't see mention of this in the DBP email.
So Chip, maybe we'd be able
to. Sorry. Yeah, we can.
We need a new property owner rep.
Who's the property owner reps now? You are.
And I am.
And you are. Okay. Is there any other kind of ideal criteria other than property owner? Are you looking for something that's different geography? Yes. Well, that doesn't narrow it down a little bit.
The commitment to the vision for downtown.
Yeah.
We don't even need that.
That's not true.
Yeah, we do need that, but we're convincing.
It's property owner or property owner representative.
Okay. Spread the word.
Maybe restaurant. I don't know.
So actually, in a way, then we have, since Susan's timing out, we have Susan's replacement, plus we just have a vacant seat for property owner.
Susan for one more year.
I'm not timing out till next year.
Not yet, Tom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And,
so it's just one property rep. Okay.
Well, and the reason I asked is because we do in the forming ordinances, if there is not a replacement for somebody who's rotating off, they are allowed to stay on until there is a replacement.
Isn't that exciting, Susan?
It's just that when are appointments? When's the application?
Due soon, January 30th.
January 30th is when they're
due.
No, the application. Okay.
And I have the timeline too. It's their deadline is midnight, January 30th. Applications will be sent to council members February 10th, and there'll be virtual interviews between February 13th and February 28th.
Okay.
So we're thinking like, how do we get, is there an email that goes out to people? Is there a flyer that goes out to the business owner?
And there's one position.
Yes.
Yeah.
And do we know if they've received any applications, or can you find that out?
I can't find out. I'm happy to send it tomorrow. It'd be just a simple email for me to find it.
So the city clerk's office leads all of the recruitment. I mean, they do broad recruitment for all boards and commissions. So, but we certainly we are allowed to do spot recruitment, especially if we're having challenges. We've done that in Boulder Junction. I'd be surprised if we don't have an applicant. DMC is actually our more attractive commission, and there's a larger pool of votes because there are a higher number of property owners in Cajun than there are in our other districts, and so and now Lane chimed in saying they have to be City of Boulder residents, not for commissions if they are a property owner. That qualifies.
Representing. And if somebody's representing a property owner, sorry, we're going to spend a lot of time on this. Do they just need a letter from the property owner saying, "I would like Joe Schmo to represent my interests"?
The clerk's office can speak to any formalities on that front, but I think that suffices.
Yeah, I asked the owner of Lindsay's Deli if she's interested because I know her, and she's like, "I'm already on a new board now with Chip." I was like, "Dang it!"
There's some good folks out there.
There's others.
Find people to join.
Yeah.
Once I tell them all the cool people who are already on this commission, who wouldn't want it?
Yes, right.
Yeah, we can get the crumbs of the DBP that they didn't take.
Crumbs.
So I'm sharing my screen and just a draft number of items that I put together based on our previous discussions. going to add one more to the end here. I just want to make sure that the agenda that we're putting together for your retreat in March is consistent with what you would like to get out of it, as well as us a little bit. Optional lunch. So we just actually recently went through this with the UCAMC Commission. And so first thing is we'll want to have a special meeting to approve minutes from this meeting, just so we're not waiting until May to do our regular procedural items. If there is anything else that other departments of the city need some approvals or feedback from DMC, we would include it in that special meeting, but probably be able to hammer through that in 15 minutes, if not half an hour. So starting out with that. And then we've had this conversation in our orientations, but I think it's always important to kind of do a quick refresh on the forming ordinances and the roles and responsibilities of the commission before we start getting into all the realm of possibilities of priorities.
And the non-responsibilities also.
Sure.
That's not really what
yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, and it's interesting, you know, when we have a partner like the BED and Downtown Boulder Partnership, yes, identifying roles of who's responsible for what, so that we can be really thoughtful and narrowing in on what we have the most, where we can have the most impact in the work that we do for CAGID. We will have had the council retreat by March, and so I can provide an overview of how that conversation went and where the council's midterm priorities are. And then we have been doing a ton of internal work in community vitality. And I've had this conversation with you all before, but would like to review our CV strategic plan and our pillars of our work and our plans, 2023 work plan items in pursuit of those long-term objectives. From there, we'll have and there will be breaks in between here. We're not going to just hammer through, but from there, then would want to have a facilitated conversation that I'm happy to facilitate around the DMC's objectives and goals and where we want to be going in prioritization of the spending of the resources that you really are help us be the stewards of. That'll be the bulk of the work that I would envision that we do during that day. But I also want to provide an opportunity if there are folks that you would like us to invite, whether it's the city manager or, you know, do you want Chip there? Who are some other folks that you might want to be there to participate in the conversation or observe to have an opportunity to have some face time that could help you all in this work. So that's why that one's on there, special guest question mark. And of course, if there's something else you want to accomplish during this time, please let us know so we can work that into the agenda. And then we are scheduled through noon on the 14th. Certainly we're glad to host lunch nearby if folks would like to go to lunch afterward, just to kind of wrap up and have a more casual non-business conversation. We can't discuss business of the commission, but we can get together afterward. So with that, I'm
yes to
open to discussion.
I say yes to the city manager. Drive by or just stop by.
We have blocked out her calendar, I believe.
Just because I've never met her, so I selfishly would like to.
Yeah, probably not for the entire time.
Right.
But
We'll pick an hour window.
But also, how can we make it more interactive? And maybe, like, I think that the part that because we can't discuss business outside of the meetings, I feel like we have Justin and I met once to work on it because we were allowed to work on that letter together. And I found that very valuable to understand, to like talk through and brainstorm about issues that were on the top of the priority. So part of me thinking, once we learn the council priorities or whatever we can review in advance and then have discussion on would make it more interactive, because it's hard to listen. Yeah, I've been planning offsites for my company, and I think we alternate between breakout presentation, breakout, like something to make it more discussion oriented.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I want to make sure that you understand one of our rules. You are allowed to meet with other people on our board, just one-on-one. Anytime there's more than 2 of us, if there's a third person there, then it becomes a meeting. But you can have coffee with me, or you can go out with Susan, or whatever. We just can't. If there's more than 2 of us, then that's where we're.
Yes. No, I knew that. I saying in this setting when we're all together, this is a good time for discussion too.
Yeah, I like that too, because I know I have ideas and I have had a chance to talk with some of you individually about kind of some of your goals, but I think there's great efficacy in us brainstorming some of that together. So I love to hear everything, Chris, you're talking about, but it probably is kind of during number 5, how we can build upon it. But in a way, yeah, like review council priorities. What do we think? In the big picture, I do know I did have a chance to talk with Chris about some of this in kind of planning for this. And while I have ideas around, and I think we all do, about what we can do and where we're going, remember the DMC is really about capital funding and buildings and capital assets and maintenance of them and parking and things like that. So while on our surface, Chris, can you just maybe remind us kind of what we're allowed to touch? Really, we might have visions and plans, but really, Chris, you reminded me that there are people who do visions and planning, and it's one thing for us to have ideas, but we should probably focus on what we can actually impact. Can you talk to us about that, Chris?
That would be part of number 2, right?
Yeah, I would
responsibilities and non-responsibilities.
Yeah, I would certainly include that as part of that review roles and responsibilities conversation in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also an interesting topic because we are, based on my understanding, a less active board in terms of, I don't want to be like, we're not like planning or transportation, right? We're not trying to be like that, but there maybe are ways where we can decide if we want to be more active or like as a board and like our role and how we do it. And not in like authority and power, but more in like mind space or focus. It's hard to input like in the process. Are we an active partner in input, or are we a check the box? I do think that's something for some topics where we should be, and other topics maybe we could be more involved in the early stages. And that was kind of my question, like what projects are well suited for us to be involved in early stages versus just to be informed on the agenda, and what do we as a board care, and I don't know if it's care about or feel like we can make an impact earlier on rather than later, because I think we should differentiate. I know personally, like I'm more actively engaged when I'm involved earlier in the process, but we don't have to be, it shouldn't be for all things. Some things probably lend itself better to input and feedback from the commission. Yeah. So I think I'd like to talk through that and think about that.
I think it would be nice to have the last 5 or 6 years of priorities to see, enough time pre-pandemic. So, kind of a more normal, what did previous boards consider important? And have we passed that? Or are we still focusing on those areas?
Susan, would that be like the letters to council, or how would that be presented to you?
Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah.
Or even, on the bottom of each agenda, there's bullet points of
most priorities available in the archives as well.
Yeah.
We can summary, make it.
But yeah, there's a summary of wrap up.
Yeah.
From those years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good example, like that letter to council and the years that I've been here was like the first time we've done something that active in the time that I've been here. And I did hear feedback that was helpful for council to hear that. So that's a good example of where like it's sometimes helpful for us to be a little bit more active. And maybe Chris, you have ideas about where those areas might be, where it's like a perspective and diving into one area and summarizing it and presenting it would be an add value to council versus not,
Yeah.
Yeah. think activation might be one of those. I've been hearing about it, but how we can help.
Well, is Chip still there? I just can't see who's there.
Yes.
Here,
Chip, would
Yes,
you be
sir.
interested in coming? I don't mean to pull you into things you don't want to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, dependent on option 8. No, I mean, if I can be helpful, if I love being informed about what you all are thinking. It's really important to the work we do to understand what this group is thinking. So, depending on when it is and what my world's like, I would love to be involved to the degree that I can, and that's appropriate. I don't know that I need to be involved with all of the day or all of the conversation, but I would love to be involved, and the parts that it's useful to be able to me.
Now the downtown vision plan is published, I think that it certainly can make sense for that to be part of the homework.
yeah.
To make sure that you all have that solidly in the context of your conversation and thinking about what is the role of CAGED in realizing the vision of the downtown plan.
Great. Yes.
One other person that I have in mind, and I open for discussion, John Taylor from the Chamber of Commerce. When we're thinking about office space and people returning to downtown, what do people think about someone like Taylor?
I don't know.
Your grasshoppers.
Are you asking us?
I don't-
Yeah, I'm asking all
I've
of
met
you.
him a couple of times. That's all
I mean, anybody that we can meet that's related to what we're doing, I think it's probably good.
If he has something to share on this.
So Lori Call from CU attended the UCAMC retreat. So she's the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Intergovernmental Relations. I think I got that right. And so we could certainly extend the invite to her if that seems like it makes a lot of sense for the Hill, right?
Subject matter experts, is that what you're getting at?
Well, she is the city's strongest partner at the university. It certainly makes a ton of sense for her to be really involved with UCAMC, and I'm just putting it out there.
If we're trying to figure out the relationship between downtown and the Hill, that'd be good for us as well to do that. But I certainly deal with a lot of university people.
Who are considered like subject matter experts for the future downtown in the United States? Besides Chip, right? Where's your book, Chip? We're waiting for your first book.
You haven't read my book?
You have a book?
I've published several.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've read a lot. I've read
Read a lot. Together during the retreat.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's so many. That's what's so fun and exciting about downtown. There's so many different areas. So you want to call down Shoop, see if he wants to come by.
Well, I don't know that we're going to be able to get into our retreat, but I think I would love to entertain the idea of, is there a professional affiliation that DMC wants to highlight that you all would like to possibly talk about, sending folks to conferences and things like that. That is a level of involvement that could be entertained, and resources could be made available to, that is a time commitment, but an opportunity to get really looped in with whether it's the International Downtown Association or other types of professional affiliations where, we'd be glad to help develop our commissioners in that realm. To help better inform work.
Maybe not a conference, but I like bite size, like books or podcasts.
I did just read, I'll put it in, I just finished reading Metropolis, The History of Cities.
Oh,
one of the most interesting books I've read in years.
I've only read one book.
I can give you a whole list of reading.
Chip, that sounds exciting. I love that.
See, wouldn't that be fun? Like increasing, I think one of my goals is to increase my knowledge of the history of cities, how downtowns function, why they're like what makes downtowns different, why have some done well and others not. Like an overall learning goal.
Start with Jane Jacobs. Yeah. Yeah, it's Metropolis. It's been
I think we'll have more interesting conversations with more. And if not books, one podcast episode. I can do that. I commit to that.
Well, I've known John Teyer for, I don't know, 15 years, and I know him fairly well. I could reach out to him to see if he has anything to add towards office space in Boulder and the future and how to bring people back and how to get people downtown. I'm happy to reach out to him and at least take that as a point where I can see if it makes sense for him to come or not.
Great, thanks, Tom. Anything else for the retreat? I promise we'll have snacks, we'll have coffee, and yeah, we'll plan to have lunch afterward. Any requests on our lunch destination or dietary restrictions that we absolutely should make sure we
Longmont or Denver for our lunch. Where it's going apparently.
And the meeting, the 4 o'clock meeting.
It's canceled, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to have
Oh yeah, it sounds the next day.
It would be interesting to see how you would your life.
So we can go, let me see.
all right. Well, this is very helpful direction for us. If there's nothing more, then that would conclude matters from staff.
Matters from commission. Is there anything, Chris, do you mind not sharing your screen anymore?
Working on it.
I can't see. There we go. Is there matters from commission? Is there anything else anyone would like to bring up?
Yeah, nothing. I'm liking this book club idea, actually.
But we can't meet.
Yes.
You just can't talk about it. Is that fair?
Why did the book out?
Because I mean,
not talk about DMC business, or they can't meet in groups.
We'll have to have an agenda item on this meeting, reflectors on the book.
you can meet socially as long as you do not discuss downtown business.
Where did the courts come down in book clubs?
It's about cities.
We'll have to ask the lawyer.
Yeah, I know.
It's getting a little bit iffy. It's getting a little iffy.
Novel, it's fine.
But Chris, to make sure I heard you right, we are allowed to meet more than 2 if we're not talking, like we could go to that lunch, but we can talk one-on-one. We can discuss these things, but it has to be one-on-one.
Correct. So you can discuss business one-on-one. You can gather for like, if Don, if you wanted to host a St. Patrick's Day party at your house and invite the commissioners, they can come, but you absolutely cannot discuss any commission business.
My wife's maiden name does have an O apostrophe in it, so
well, and St. Patrick's Day is my birthday, so
maybe Chris is hosting.
Well, in interest, sometimes we push a lot of time on these meetings. It's really great to see you all. I am so sorry I couldn't be there. I was really planning on it, but then just with the birthday plans for my family, it just didn't work out. But I do look forward to seeing you all in person in March. Hey, that's Pi Day, in fact, isn't it? It's March 14th. It's 314. So. But I move we adjourn. Any seconds?
Second.
Great.
Right.
Thanks to everyone else, Lane, for joining, and Teresa too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday.
Yes,
Thank
happy
you.
birthday.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Look